If you're a contractor pulled in a million one directions and you're not sure exactly where to start in systemizing your business, how to get out of the day-to-day operations, where to even start looking to be more profitable, and every single person on the internet is telling you to do this tactic versus this tactic, and you're completely at a dead end trying to figure out what you should do first. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact roadmap, the exact systems, the exact blueprint that you need to scale your business with the right systems and processes so that you can grow profitably and you can get out of the day-to-day operations. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Liz Chisholm, and I run a construction business on just 10 hours a week, sometimes even less, because I put the right systems and processes in place. If you're working more than 10 hours a week in your construction business and you don't know where to start, then this video is going to give you the exact roadmap. The very first thing that we have to understand when building our business and when systemizing our business is what our business is actually going to look like when we do it. A lot of times we can go down the rabbit trails, we can kind of get lost in the weeds, we can really just be busy but not actually have the right action to move forward in our business. And so I'm using this analogy and this illustration to really show you what we're building. Now, obviously you're a builder, you're a contractor, you're watching this video. And so this is going to directly relate to what you do. The very first thing that you need to think about is the foundation. You do not build a roof if you don't have a foundation. You don't build the walls without a foundation. The foundation that I have put into my business is my reputation. It's my standard. It is what my business is built on. It is not built on sloppy standards. It's not built on low quality. It's not built on the things that are going to destroy my reputation. Now, if you don't have this in place, then what can happen is you may hire somebody and they may not do the things that you want them to do the way you want them to do it. And then you've got customers that are mad, and then your reputation lowers because you didn't have that standard in place. So the very first thing that we need to think about when building your business is what standards or what things are you going to tolerate or not tolerate in your business? What quality is, okay, this is quality. This is what we do in our business. And this is not quality. This is what we don't do in our business. It's pretty easy to define, but a lot of times contractors have it all in their head, and then they go hire people. And they may hire an operations person, they may hire a sales and estimating person, they may hire a project manager or a laborer or a skilled carpenter or something like that. But if they don't actually define, hey, this is how we actually operate in this business. This is how we continue to strengthen our reputation and get our name out there. This is how we actually have a good reputation for ourselves. Then those people may not do the things you want them to do the way you want them to do it. And then delegation just literally collapses, and you end up having a very hard time with your employees, and you think it's an employee issue, but it's really a foundation issue. The very first thing that you need to do is think about, okay, what is it that I am okay with? And what is it that is not acceptable in my business? What is the behavior that I want? What is the behavior that's not okay? What is the quality standards I want? What is not okay in my business? So once you define that, now it is time to look at all the pillars of your business. Now, I like to think of these pillars as like the four walls of your business. And some houses obviously have more than four walls, but typically a house has four walls. They're outside walls, and they hold the structure of the business up. Here we have got operations, sales and estimating, fulfillment, and then marketing. Now, when you have those walls there, now you can add the systems within those walls. You can have the electrical systems, you can have the plumbing systems, you can have the HVAC systems. And all of those systems have to work together, but they have to have the framework of the walls, in this case, the different pillars of your business, in order to grow your business. Now, a lot of times what it looks like when you're trying to grow your business is your house could look something like this. Your operations aren't really working very well. You may have some of this foundation, but it's all in your head. You have sales and estimating that keep you going. You may not have a lot of marketing, but at least you have a good reputation. And every time you try to grow something, everything else kind of falls, and your roof or the result that you want or the business that you want in the future is on the ground. And this is what a lot of businesses look like. And so we actually have to build it from the ground up. And I literally will show you every single system that you need in your business to grow your business. Now, I'm going to go back to my HVAC analogy and want you to think about it this way. If I take the thermostat off your wall and I go put it outside and it's not connected to anything, and let's say we don't have Wi-Fi and things like that, but it's not connected to anything. It's not connected to an AC unit. It's not connected to a heater. It's not connected to power. Then that in and of itself is not going to work. Those are like the tactics that people show you on the internet. And they just like, okay, cool, I've got this thermostat. And you think it's going to help you grow your business, but it's not when it's not connected to the whole system. And when you actually install that thermostat inside your business, you can go boop, boop, boop. and make it more hot, or boop, 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 make it more cold, depending on what the weather is and what you feel like that day. And so that is like the operations of your business, is to really understand your numbers. Now, like I promised, I'm going to go through every single one of them. And so I'm going to show you another graph to actually show you all the systems that you need in your business. Screenshot this, watch this video multiple times so that you can actually put the right systems in place in your business, and you're not just throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping something sticks. So the very first thing that you want to do when you're systemizing your construction business is profit protection. This is where you need to make sure that you aren't bleeding profit before we do anything else. This is where I've done videos on the profit leaks that are most common in construction businesses. This is where I have walked through how to recapture anywhere from $15,000 to $60,000 in people's businesses within a 30-minute time period, just because if you're not looking at the right things, you actually could be bleeding profit. Every single person that I work with has bled some type of profit in their business. And if we don't plug those holes first, then it doesn't matter what we're doing throughout the entire systemizing process. We're just going to be working really hard, and then our money is just going to go out the window. The very next thing that you need to do in your business, now this is if your business is chaotic and you don't know where to start, the next place to go is the role clarity and accountability. If your people don't know what they're responsible for, if there's no role clarity, what ends up happening is you end up wearing all the hats, you end up putting out all the fires, you end up filling in all the gaps because your employees aren't doing the things that they need to be doing, and they don't even know what they're supposed to be doing. And so you're the duct tape that's holding everything together. So you want to make sure that you sit down with every single one of your employees and say, okay, this is what you're responsible for. This is how we're going to track that. And this is what I mean by success in this role. And so when you do that with every single one of your employees, you're not going to raise the bar. You're also going to help understand where you don't need to fill in. And you're going to be able to actually know who you're missing in your team and who needs to add more responsibility, which leads me to the successful delegation. This is where you're now going to go, oh, wow, you are doing a lot of work that's not necessary, and I'm doing a lot of work that is necessary, and I'm going to delegate that to you. Now, once you have that role clarity and accountability, now you can add more to your employees' plate, because I can guarantee you they're going to free up a lot of time when you say, I just need you to do this, this, and this. This is what needs to happen, and this is how we need to make it go. Then you can delegate more to them. Or if you need more employees, this is where you're going to bring in more people. As you're growing your business, you're going to need more people. Now, if we don't profit protect at the very beginning, then going and hiring somebody is just going to waste profit. If we don't understand the role clarity and accountability, then typically we hire before we've maximized our current team. And if we don't delegate successfully, then we're going to just be having all of these responsibilities and wearing all these hats and putting out all these fires and not hiring the right person. And so you've got to go in order for your business to be systemized, in order for you to grow profitably. And then last but not least is the CEO command center. Now, this is really where the metrics lie. This is where all of the different numbers that you need to track in your business lie. Now, I have a video that walks you through the 7 critical numbers in your business, and those 7 numbers, along with every number for each department, is what we track on a regular basis. And this is exactly how I run my business in just less than 10 hours a week, because I am watching the right numbers in the right way, because the right people are being accountable for those numbers. And so I'm not doing the actual work. I am literally managing the work as the CEO of the business. Now, the next thing that we want to do is, once we get our operations in line, we want to move on to sales and estimating. So the first thing that we need to do is have a pre-qualification system. If you are not getting on the phone with your leads and understanding what they want, when they want it, how they want it, and what motivates them to want that, then you are wasting your time going to their house and doing estimates. When you can get them on the phone and say, okay, what's your budget for this? What's your timeline for this? What's motivating you for this project? How serious are you about starting right now? Or are you just wanting a ballpark number of the phone? Then you are going to save so much time on the back end, because you're doing the right estimates and not doing every estimate. The next system that you want in place is that you want to make sure that you're estimating for profit. So many contractors are not charging enough. They need to be charging more money, because if there's not enough meat on the bone, it doesn't matter how many systems or processes you have in place. It doesn't matter how streamlined your systems are. If you just don't have enough meat on the bone, you're not going to have the profit left over at the end of the jobs in order to grow and scale your business. And so you want to make sure that you're actually estimating for profit. The next thing that you want to do is have an estimate conversion system, because your estimate conversion rate could be really low. In fact, oftentimes I see anywhere from like 30 to 50%, which means that, let's say it's at 30% and we put in the estimate conversion system, meaning more of the estimates we do turn into business. Now, understanding we have already raised our prices on this. We've already done this, and I do this simultaneously. So I raise their prices and then we actually close more deals. And the reason we can do this is because we're doing the right deals And the estimate conversion system builds trust within the system for that to actually happen. And so when you put in the estimate conversion system and you're closing, like, let's say 30% of your leads. So out of every 10 estimates you do, you get 3 of them and those turn into jobs. If we increase that to 60%, you've now gone from 3 jobs to 6 jobs. And now you've doubled your business literally with just one system. And that one system is really not that difficult to put in. It's just building the trust along the way and making sure there's all the right touch points in order for your potential clients and the homeowners that you work with to actually trust you above anybody else. So once we get more profitable jobs and we get those jobs or more profitable estimates, and we get those estimates to turn into jobs, we now have also a pool of people that are not ready for us right now. And those are from the pre-qualification system. Those are the people that are like, yeah, I'm thinking about it next summer. Yeah, I'm going to wait till this happens, or I'm doing whatever. You need to have a follow-up system to make sure that you are capturing all of those people that you've done estimates with, but they're just not ready quite yet. And maybe they're a little bit premature in the process, but you've got to have the follow-up system. Most people are following up within 1 to 2 times. You have a 80% chance of getting more clients by just putting in 5 touch points of a follow-up system. Now, last but not least for this entire system is to have a transfer of trust. So once we've built this entire system, we have all these jobs going. Now we have to make sure that what we promised the client, we actually are going to deliver on the job, which means that we need to transfer that job and the trust from the client to the project manager. Now, if you're that contractor that's actually doing both roles, you're the sales and estimator and you're the project manager, you want to make sure that you're clearly defining that and you have a process for that. Because as soon as you start putting in all these other systems, you're going to have the bandwidth, you're going to have the capacity, you're going to have the profits to actually go hire the right people. And if you don't have the systems in place, then they're going to flounder and you're going to waste a lot of time, energy, and effort. So now we move on to the fulfillment system. The very first thing that we need to do is put in a job flow system. Most people think about the pre-con, what they need to do to get out the job set up, and then it's the job, and then it falls apart. And there's no closeout system. There's no punch list system. I mean, yes, there's a punch list, but typically it takes 3 times as long as you anticipated it to take because there's not those clear points of quality checks. There's not those clear defining moments of this is how we're working through the process. And so what ends up happening is jobs drag on. And if jobs drag on even a day later than you expected, then you are losing profit. Every single day, that's profit going out of your bank account, which means that you are working for free. And so you've got to have that job flow system in order to make sure that your jobs finish on time and on budget. Now, once you've kind of mapped out your jobs, now you need a daily job costing. You want to make sure that you are tracking the right numbers. This is, again, going back to the thermostat. If I put that thermostat and I don't connect it to Wi-Fi, electricity, there's no batteries in it, it's really kind of just this piece of electronic that doesn't do anything. But if I can daily check what's going on, then I can understand where there's going to be issues in the business, who I need to hire, how I need to manage better, how I need to put better systems into place. And so that job costing is really going to help protect your profits throughout the entire process. Next, we need a master schedule. So many contractors don't even know when the job's going to start and when the job's going to end. It's kind of like, yeah, we'll start next week. Well, is it next week Monday? Is it next week Tuesday? And all of that builds into your client really not understanding what you're going to do and how you're going to do that. And because of that lack of communication, you're now shooting yourself in the foot for getting those repeat business and the referrals. Now, obviously, you probably are getting repeat business and referrals because you're booked out and you probably don't have much marketing. At least that's my experience with talking to contractors. But at the same time, what if you could get more repeat business and more referrals because people are actually referring you because you're like, hey, this is the schedule. This is how we're going to do it. This is what's happening. And this is when we're going to finish your job. And if you can stick to that schedule, I can guarantee you that your business will grow and your employees will have the ability to follow the system versus the schedule being all in your head and then trying to communicate that to your guys on a daily basis. And then you get to communicate something, you forget about something, you've got 5 jobs going on at once and it's all in your head. That is called chaos. We got to get it all written down. There's obviously you can use like Google Sheets or Excel or something like that, or use a project management system. Obviously, I love using AI and software to do that, but really it doesn't matter what the mechanism is. It's the fact that you just need one in the first place. Now, the next system we need to put is making sure that we are not losing money on the scope and change of control. Now, if we are estimating correctly and we're estimating for profit, then this becomes so much easier. Again, everything is about order. If I make a pizza and I put cheese down and then sauce down and then the dough on top, then what ends up happening is I don't have pizza. I have a mess. But if I do the dough, then the sauce, then the cheese. I now have a pizza that I can share with other people and it's delicious and I enjoy it for dinner. So the scope and the change order control is really there to make sure that you are doing the change orders for profit, that you are doing it and not just word of mouth, like, oh yeah, we can totally do that. And then you totally forget to charge them for it. But there needs to be a process for that. Same thing with scope creeps. Like it's a real thing for, oh yeah, I'll just do a little bit. Oh, I'll just do a little bit. And all of a sudden you're doing all these little bits that at the time didn't seem like it was much. And you're like, it's like 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, we'll just do it real quick. But then that adds up so much that you're end up on a profit on the job and you're working for free. And so that is what we don't want to happen. Plus homeowners love to have an idea of what this is and how it is and know what those expectations are, because if you can have their expectations and what reality is and those match, you now have a very happy customer. And last but not least is the weekly job review. This is the production meeting. Seriously, this is what actually turns jobs going sideways and off course, and you're going to lose money on them, to being back on track to actually making money in your business. So there's a specific production meeting that I teach the guys to go through. And when they do that, literally, they'll send me things like, yeah, there was a job that was totally off track. We had our production meeting, it's back on track, and we're going to be profitable on it instead of barely breaking even. And so you want to make sure that you're staying on top of it. You don't want to be 4 months behind on job costing. You don't want to be a week behind in the schedule. You've got to be tracking all of this in order for your jobs to be streamlined, in order for you to make money, and in order for your business to not look like something like this. Now, last but not least is the marketing one. And the first thing that we got to do is figure out who we're actually targeting as clients. A lot of times we're just kind of throwing out messaging, maybe throwing a post on social media, maybe throwing something out for Yelp ads or whatever it is, local business ads. And you're not really targeting the right people. If you work with homeowners, you do not want people who rent. They are not going to hire you. So you've got to make sure that you're targeting the right people. You've got to have a target system. The next thing is you've got to have a lead generation system. You've got to not only attract leads who are going to call you, but you need to attract what I call invisible leads. These are leads that are engaging with your content. They're watching your videos. They're interacting on your page. They're going to your website. They're utilizing different tools that you have out there for people, but maybe they're not quite saying, yes, I'm ready for that right now. Because at any given time, only about 2 to 3% of people are going to pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, I'm ready for you to remodel my bathroom. There's 97 to 98% of people who are literally just thinking about it. And you want to capture those people. So lead generation is actually a little bit more than just a bunch of people calling me, because they could be the wrong people calling you. Then next, you want to put in the trust and reputation system. Now, from my experience, most guys actually do have this really good in place. They love building relationships. They love being a part of their community. They love actually having their reputation be super high. Like, they may not be the cheapest contractor, but they are the highest quality contractor, and they're very proud of that fact. And so that is where you want to just make sure you're telling more people about the trust that you've built and about the reputation. And so you want that to spread virally. You don't just want the few people that you've been working with to know that, but you want the whole community that you're a part of to know that. And so that way you can get more jobs. Now, after that, we need to put in a long-term pipeline system. Now, again, like I mentioned, 97 to 98% of people are not ready for a bathroom remodel right now. They're not ready to do their backyard. Maybe it's winter. Maybe they're waiting for their tax to come in and them to get a tax credit back, so that way they have the money so they can go do these projects and things like that. Like, you want to make sure that you're in front of those people first before your competition, and building, again, making sure you're targeting the right people, making sure you have a way to capture them, making sure you're building that trust. So that way, you know that you've got jobs coming in and you create predictability. It's one of the ways to actually have a peace of mind in your business when you have predictability in your business. And then last but not least, in the marketing column is the metrics to watch. You want to make sure that you're not spending too much money on marketing. You're not spending too little on marketing. So that way you have that predictable system and you can grow your business. You can have inevitable profits and you can stop being the bottleneck of your own business. So take a screenshot of this so that way you can put all of these in place. Now, if you want my help to actually implement every single one of these systems so that you can run your business in 10 hours a week, so just drop a line below and I'll send you my calendar link so that way we can see if it's a match to work together and help you put in all of these systems in order for you to scale your business and get out of the day-to-day operations while still being profitable. If you want more videos on how to actually implement all of these systems and processes, then just subscribe to this channel so you can see more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.